Another March Madness is officially in the bag. The Michigan Wolverines have won the national champions, defeating UConn Huskies and ending Dan Hurley's run for a third title in 4 years. This is Michigan's first natty since 1989, I believe. I think I got that right. If I did not, you can call me out on that, my boys. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Crashing Out podcast. I am your host, HLLYWOOD Holguin, and on this podcast we'll be covering all things sports, and I guess we're starting it right after the national title game. I got to start off with this though. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older. As time goes on, I get more gray hairs as I grow out my beard. It feels like this national title game started way later than it should have. Like, the ball didn't get tipped off till around 5:50 Pacific time, which is where I'm at, which means it wasn't on until 8:50 Eastern time, and it's UConn versus Michigan. What does a 5:50 start time Pacific and an Eastern 8:50 do for anyone? I just don't understand the mindset with putting this game so late. This should have been like at least a 4:30 tip-off, in my opinion. But again, this could probably just be me getting older and not understanding, because back in the days, I used to always scoff at my East Coast peeps for always being like, yeah, these games start way too late. And I feel like as I age more, the later the game, the more annoyed I get. Maybe that's just a me thing. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below if I'm just overreacting to that. But like now, even NBA games are getting like 8 p.m. start times, which to me is insanely ludicrous. Like, these games need to be played eventually, especially when the UCLA women's team, by the way, congratulations on them for winning the national championship yesterday, was like an early afternoon game on Easter, which was like perfect for that contest. Like, I thought that was a great start time, and I feel like this game should have started at 4, or it should have been played on Sunday. Put the final 4 games on Friday night and have, or no, wait, yeah, and then have the game on Sunday. That would be better for everyone. I feel like Easter Sunday, people are watching the championship game. I think that would have been a better payoff than whatever they did today. Also, the referees in this game were horrendous. I have to admit, they were pretty bad. It was a rough game to watch. It was just brick city after brick city. I'm absolutely shocked that Dan Hurley didn't just combust from all the referee calls and just how slow paced. It was a gritty win by the best team of the tournament, which was the Michigan Wolverines. I feel like Michigan only looked bad, really bad, or kind of in trouble at one point in the tournament, and it was probably in the first half of that Alabama game. Every other team, they just absolutely dominated with their size and their grittiness and their defense. And the same thing applied here in this game. The thing that I will say for UConn, though, I really did not have UConn making it this far. That's on me for doubting the great Dan Hurley, which, I mean, this might be a hot take. In my opinion, I truly believe that Dan Hurley is the best basketball coach in the world right now. I mean, in college and the NBA. I mean, obviously, I can't really judge him from the NBA because he hasn't made the jump yet, and who knows if he ever does. Kind of alluded to it this morning. Would love to see him try to make that transition. Talking about coaches making transitions, though, we did just see Mike Malone get hired by the Tar Heels. We're going to talk about that after we recap this national title game, though. Just start off this game again. Just brick city, a lot of fouls, a lot of free throws for Michigan, a lot of missed shots, though. And, like, I'm not going to blame the refs completely for why UConn lost. I don't think I've seen a UConn or any basketball team just miss so badly at the rim in a bigger moment. Like, they missed so many easy shots, and obviously it's because of Mara. Mara's an absolute Spanish giant. The guy could have blocked anything, but I think there were just a fear of them getting stuffed caused UConn to make some terrible decisions around the rim, man. Like, a couple floaters just shot way too hard, a couple of hook shots that didn't even graze the rim. They were 100% scared of Mara, and credit to Michigan. Defensively, they protected that paint with their lives, man, and it paid off big time. Because, yeah, the game was pretty close towards the end there, and you got to figure that if UConn was able to successfully attack the paint, the game probably would have been at least tied or even an advantage to UConn. Because I feel like Alabama, the first half of their game against Michigan, really showed if they play with pace, if they play with speed, they run up and down the court, Mara becomes significantly worse. He becomes absolutely unplayable. Don't forget, that Alabama first half against Michigan, when Mara inexplicably took that hook shot with so much time left, it really looked like Michigan was kind of in trouble. They figured it out in the second half because, again, obviously they're absolutely beautifully coached. And his size and their size altogether is what truly made the difference in this game and what gave UConn, in my opinion, the W, not UConn, my bad, Michigan the W, and Michigan the first national title since 1989. They were the best team this tournament, in my opinion. The way they absolutely dominated Arizona was so impressive. Their gritty win here tonight, they were the team to beat going into here. I thought Arizona had maybe more talent, but I think the size that Michigan had was just too overwhelming for so many teams to handle. They were the team. Too much for UConn to handle. I fully expect Dan Hurley and the Huskies to make it back here once again. You just can't doubt the guy. I really thought that they didn't look that great in the Big East tournament. St. John's just ran right through him, my boys. But man, he is just locked in. And this is only his second loss in the tournament in the last 4 years. The last loss, obviously last year to Florida, was only a 2-point L. And now here tonight, they lose by 6, which, I mean, the 6.5, Michigan by 6.5 bet really stings, man. Like, for them to win by 6, like, I had them at 6.5, and for that game to end only by 6 points because of the end of the game was just absolutely catastrophic with the amount of calls that were being made by the referees. Not a great night for the Zebras. It's usually never a great night for them, but they were really bad tonight. I'm not going to say that's the reason why Michigan won. It's for all the reasons I stated earlier. But yeah, man, obviously hard-nosed game, gritty game, March Madness in the bag. Just a quick recap of March Madness in itself, though. I feel like the tournament didn't really get rolling until about around the Sweet 16. Now, there was a couple of great games in the beginning, but with NIL and the transfer portals, it's making it more difficult for March Madness to have its madness. I mean, these lower-seeded schools aren't really giving us the Cinderella major upset storylines that, I grew up with. At least this is like the second year in a row almost that the Final Four was chalked. I mean, if UConn doesn't hit that miracle of a shot when they were down by 19 in the game against Duke, I feel like this tournament really would have missed that magic moment. The finals were just what they were, and then this last championship game was pretty much a brick city, as I said earlier. So, I really, truly missed the madness of March. This isn't one of my favorite March Madnesses for sure, and I don't think it is for a lot of people. Maybe for schools that, like Illinois. Illinois had a hell of a run. But yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't madness for me, man. And I did terrible. I did really bad in my bracket. My bracket was cooked by that weekend, the first weekend actually. That day 2 of March Madness, I did really well though. I had a perfect day, and it was awesome. But those next few days really cooked your boy. There was just nothing I could really do there. Did amazing in the women's though. One, the women's bracket absolutely killed. Again, shout out to UCLA. But in other college news, we have a shocking hire by the UNC Tar Heels. They are hiring Mike Malone as their head coach. He's making the transition from the NBA to the NCAA. If you don't know who Mike Malone is, Laker fans will remember who he is. Laker fans remember him fondly, man. He was the coach of the Denver Nuggets, and he led them to an NBA championship, I want to say, about 2 or 3 seasons ago. I can't remember the exact date. I've tried to erase that memory from my head after they absolutely eviscerated my team and swept them, and then the following year, beat us in 5. But besides the point, that's the past. I just don't want to get into that. Mike Malone going to the Tar Heels. Now, this is an interesting hire because, in my opinion, they're going to be a great success story, and he's going to absolutely kill it in the NCAA with the Tar Heels, or it's going to be an absolute failure and he's going to be out of there in 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. Obviously, this is something that UNC wants to do. If their football program, they bring in Bill Belichick. Now here with the basketball team, they're bringing in Mike Malone. The thing that I'm interested by is this. When Mike Malone was fired from Denver, the stories coming out of Denver were that Mike Malone wasn't really playing their younger players, and that he was playing Russell Westbrook when Westbrook was on the team at the time way too much over the younger guys. Well, now he's taken over a complete college team of young guys. Is he going to be able to transfer the success he had in the NBA with more veteran players, or is he going to be able to do that with the younger guys? So clearly there was an issue that he had with the GM that cost him and the GM the job. So will Mike Malone be able to make that transition? I think he's a good coach. I think he's a very talented guy. I think when he speaks about basketball, I love to hear him. He's one of the few highlights of ESPN, especially with their NBA coverage. But I am just interested to see how he does. It's a huge job. I really thought that the Tar Heels were going to wait for Billy Donovan. And speaking of Billy Donovan, I think the three NBA teams that really hurt because of this Mike Malone decision to go to UNC, it's the Orlando Magic, it's the New Orleans Pelicans, and it's the Chicago Bulls. Now, we found out today that the Pelicans were already ready to offer Mike Malone their head coaching job. Obviously, right now, they have the assistant coach, I think it's Borrega. Borrega is the head coach of the Pelicans right now, I believe. I might be wrong about that. But clearly they want to make a new hire, and they had Mike Malone high on their list. And we found out a few days ago that the Orlando Magic pretty much seemed ready to move on from Mosley. I don't think the Mosley thing is working out. I don't think those players have a tight connection, especially Banchero. Banchero seems to not care at all for his head coach, and I think Orlando's ready to move on. They haven't really found that success with the Orlando Magic that they thought they were going to have. Wagner's been hurt for most of the season. Banchero, since his rookie year, has been digressing so much, and it's a damn shame because, his rookie year, this dude looked like a superstar. And now it feels like little by little he's getting worse and worse. And a lot of people assume it's because of his relationship with the head coach. And maybe so. Maybe that might be the case. And it seems like the Orlando Magic, especially after giving up a boatload of first-round picks to pick up Desmond Bane, which at the time, my boys, I felt like it was already a massive overpay. I really thought they paid way too much for a guy that could really do one thing well and just shoot the three and spread the floor. So looking at how the Magic have been basically mediocre, have not really improved whatsoever, they seemed ready to go for Mosley, and they had Mike Malone high on their list as well. Now we go to the Chicago Bulls. I think Bulls fans, more than anything, because I don't think what Bulls fans want is what Chicago Bulls ownership wants. I think those two ideologies could not be any farther apart than any other situation in the NBA. With saying that, they just fired their general manager and president of basketball operations. They were there for, I believe, 4 years. They only made one playoff appearance. They have made terrible decisions via trades, via the draft. So they moved the Chicago Bulls, move on. Now they're going to have a boatload of cap space this summer and have potentially a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. It's a job that I feel like is interesting if you give the GM or whoever you hire as president the keys to actually run the team. That Bulls ownership is just absolutely awful. They're as bad as it gets. They've been bad. I call it the Michael Jordan curse. I think they have not been able to get out of that shadow, and I don't believe they ever will unless they sell the team. But with all that being said, Bulls fans basically wanted Billy Donovan to get hired by the Tar Heels. That way the Bulls could then hire a brand new coach and have somebody else in charge. I'm like, Billy's been in Chicago for a hot minute, I believe. And the results speak for themselves. It's the definition of insanity, my boys. And I think Bulls fans are just ready to pull that plug. But after the GM and the president of basketball operations is fired, to me, what that tells me, especially it happening the same day that Malone gets the North Carolina job, I think that tells me that the Bulls ownership is fully committed to Billy Donovan for whatever reason. Now, Billy's been a coach that's made it to the finals. He's had success in OKC. He did take the Bulls once to the playoffs, but ever since that 1 year, and that's the year that I believe they had Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, they were killing it. And then Lonzo's knee just completely deteriorates and everything else falls apart, and they end up trading Caruso to OKC. DeRozan goes to Sacramento. They trade LaVine in a ridiculous deal where they don't even get much back. It's been really bad for Chicago Bulls fans, and I think they were just holding out hope that, hey man, maybe we can get rid of Billy Donovan, the GM, and the president of basketball operations. I think Billy Donovan is there to stay. I don't think that's going to be a head coaching job opening in the NBA. I think Billy's staying, my boys. I have that feeling. And I think the firings that happened today for Chicago are the clearest sign that that's what's possibly going to happen. And again, where's Billy Donovan going to go now that the UNC job has been filled by Mike Malone? Yes, but it's going to be a lot of turnover, man. I think this is going to be a very interesting NBA offseason. I think a lot of teams have a lot of tough decisions to make. Some of those teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, what's going to happen with Giannis? What is the end game there? Now he's beefing with them because he wants to play. The Bucks don't want to play him. Clearly, Giannis has personal reasons for wanting to play. He wants to play with the other two brothers that the Bucks are currently playing because they're obviously tanking for a better pick. But they feel like if they play Giannis, they might win the game. But the guy wants to play with all three brothers. So at that point, what do? You know, I kind of understand Giannis at that point. But I hope he realizes that whatever team he does get traded to, if he ever gets traded at all, I assume he will this summer. Like, I don't think those teams are going to be looking to sign Thanasis Antetokounmpo to their roster or the other brother, Kostas Antetokounmpo. I don't think those teams want to fill out their rosters to appease just Giannis. I feel like the teams that are trading for him or are going to trade for him are trading for him to win a championship. Teams like the Knicks, the Heat, the Warriors, even the Lakers. Even though if I'm the Lakers with the current events that are transpiring, I would maybe want to keep my first round picks and maybe not offload them for one guy. And the guy in Giannis, who is obviously super talented, future Hall of Famer, does he really work with Luka Doncic? Are you going to give up your assets when you know you need depth? And since I already brought it up, and it's going to pain me to talk about this, let's talk about the Lakers, man. It's been a rough few days. My boys. Man, if we could only go back to March, how beautiful was Lakers basketball in March? It was unbelievably perfect. They were playing defense. There was effort. We were getting bench production from guys like Luke Kennard and Jackson Hayes. The big three just clicked. They finally figured it out. It was just beautiful, beautiful, ethical basketball. And they were playing back-to-backs, winning against teams that I felt like they could not win against back in February, back in January. Like, to me, this team had no shot to make any noise whatsoever right before the trade deadline. Even when they traded for Luke Kennard, my biggest happiness was that they got rid of Gabe Vincent, that scumbag. So I was really happy with having Luke Kennard because at least we knew that this guy could actually do something and actually shoot the ball, unlike Gabe. But even then, I still knew that this was mostly or most likely a gap year. They weren't really concerned with winning in this year. They were more concerned with winning the summer and going into next year with title on their mind. But in this season, I just didn't feel like that was going to happen. It felt like we were just in this long season heading for a very real LeBron James Laker divorce. And then March happened and a flip switched. And this team basically became unbeatable. They had amazing wins against the Knicks, the Wolves, that thriller against the Denver Nuggets. They went to Miami. Luka dropped 60. They show up to Orlando the next day. Luka Kennard's hitting game winners. Luka's dropping 40 on multiple teams. He's tearing out the heart of the Houston Rockets. He's absolutely on fire. He's becoming an MVP candidate, even though ESPN and the NBA media will love to tell you he's not and try to give that award to guys like Jaylen Brown. Don't get me wrong, Jaylen Brown has had a fantastic season. But if you look at just straight the numbers, even the defensive numbers that you guys like to bring up, because I don't know why people think that Luka has just played awful defense all season. The guy's defensive numbers have absolutely improved, and it's in the numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do. But anybody saying Jaylen Brown has a better shot at a better debate at MVP than Luka Doncic is ridiculous. This guy was on a whole nother level for an entire month. And even before that, people forget already that he started the season with multiple 40-point games. This team survived missing LeBron for over a month. I don't understand how this kid gets crucified for playing well, while guys like Wemby go in front of the media and have a pick-me press conference, and then everybody all of a sudden has Wemby at MVP, even though if you look at the numbers, and I don't know if these numbers are still accurate because I saw these numbers a few days ago, but LeBron James even though he missed a month of basketball, has played more minutes than Wembanyama. Wembanyama came off the bench for multiple games in the first half of the season. Now, I'm not saying Wemby doesn't deserve any awards. He is the best defender in the NBA, hands down. And he will 100% be a multi-time MVP. And he will 100% most likely be a multi-time NBA champion and finals MVP. But if we're just looking at this season, the way this season has gone, with the rosters that some of these teams had, to look at Luka Doncic and to scoff those numbers off, and to not only say, because some of these bozos on ESPN, some of these bozos on these other podcasts have said that they don't even have Luka Doncic on all NBA first team. And to me, that is one of the most ridiculous statements you could possibly make. This guy has played too good. He has played too well. He has been too amazing to be screwed over with not being at least NBA All First Team. You could tell me Shea's the MVP, and I will have a hard time arguing with you about that. Why? Because Shea has put up some hell of great numbers on the best team in the world right now. But to just say that Luka Doncic is number 5, or not even in your top 5, or not even an All-NBA First Team NBA, it's foolish. It's foolish. To say Kate Cunningham and Jaylen Brown have had better seasons than Luka Doncic is foolish. It's dumb, and it's not right. And I've been holding that in for a while because, like, it's just unbelievable to me how this media has treated him. And I know it's the Lakers tax. I know for a fact that's the Lakers tax. No Laker has won an in-season award since Lamar Odom during the 2010-2011 NBA season when he won it for Sixth Man of the Year. The last MVP was Kobe in 2008, and before that, it was Shaq in 2000. And then Shaq in 2000, who should have been unanimous MVP, wasn't given even that. It's the Lakers tax. I've grown up with it. You know, it's never really mattered to Laker fans how much about MVP, because once Kobe only won 1 and Steve Nash was holding up 2, you kind of got the point. It comes with the territory. But some of these statements that some of these guys give is just absolutely ridiculous. But back to reality. This March was a dream come true. And then April hit. And I don't know what we did or who we pissed off. But to think that you beat the Cleveland Cavaliers at home, who are semi-healthy, you beat them in LA, all the chemistry through the roof. This is you're going into your biggest challenge of the season, Oklahoma City in Oklahoma. They've had a fantastic March as well. And you get smoked by 40, 50 points. I forgot the final score because I would like to block it out of my memory. I would like to never think about this game ever again after I speak on this. But how the hell do we go into that game lose? But not just lose. You lose Luka Doncic for 3 to 6 weeks, and you lose Austin Reeves for 4 to 6 weeks. Luka with the hamstring injury, grade 2, worst case scenario. Austin Reeves, an oblique injury, grade 2, worst case scenario. It was too good to be true. It was too good to be true. We should have seen it coming. It was just going a little too well for the Lakers, and that's just how it goes, I guess, man. It's hard, and it sucks to think that we might watch this team get absolutely slapped in the first round of the playoffs and not see them at their full potential, at their full health. But the issue that I have with what happened with the injuries is that this is what happens when you have a general manager who does not give this team depth. The difference between the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Lakers is that the Spurs and the Thunder drafted well, signed the right players, didn't only go for the home run signings and trades. No, they made moves around the margins, which is something that Rob Pelinka has always and will always just be bad at. The Lakers haven't had a stacked team since the 2020-2021 season. That team was loaded, but once Anthony Davis went down, it all fell apart. And after that season, for whatever reason, Rob Pelinka has had this weird roster construction. I like to call it cheap. Some people like to call it lazy. Both are correct. These one-year deals that don't really always pan out, and we end up not really having a culture or a team that's built on that we could play and they could grow together. The other issue being that JJ Redick really does not play any of these younger dudes, man. They hardly get any time on the court. And this is a guy that when he was hired preached how he wants to build a culture and develop younger players. I have yet to have seen that in the 2 years that JJ Redick has been coach of the Lakers. So what ends up happening with zero depth, with JJ unable to get any of these younger guys to produce quickly enough, is that you end up playing Austin, Luka insane minutes on a nightly basis. At one point during this stretch in March, as beautiful as it was, they had a little bit of time to go on a run to rest their guys and still win games. It was the game against the Pacers that they ended up allowing the Pacers to come back multiple times. The game against the Nets, where they couldn't put the Nets away to the fourth quarter. They couldn't put the Nets away till the Nets realized, oh, we're tanking. We're not supposed to lose. Let's, take our foot off the gas and just give the dubs to the Lakers. That's what happened against the Nets. Because those first 3 quarters, the Brooklyn Nets outplayed the hell out of the Lakers. And then again, the game against Washington, they did go up by a bit. And but then they started losing it again during the third quarter. So it seemed like these games that they should just blow out these shitty teams so they could rest their players. They just never got that chance. Like the starters ended finishing the entire fourth quarter in that Nets game. There was never a time in this entire March run that these guys were able to just sit back and relax. But the Spurs and the Thunder, like those guys, they can go nights without multiple of their star players and still pick up W's. Because they're developing their talent. They're developing the guys they picked up in the draft and free agency and via trade. Guys like Jared McCain that the Sixers stupidly trade to Sam Presti of all people for a first-round pick. Guys on the Spurs have basically all been drafted. They freaking committed a highway robbery on the Sacramento Kings, picked up De'Aaron Fox for nothing, and then we're still able to keep Castle, draft Harper, have guys like Keldon Johnson, pick up guys like Luke Cornett, pick up guys like Harrison Barnes, and then, build them around Wembayama, who just does everything else amazingly well. That's the difference. It's a general manager issue. It is his job to build a stronger roster. But you don't have to rely on Austin and Luka to play 36 to 40 minutes a night because you can't beat the Indiana Pacers or the Brooklyn Nets by more than 5 or 10 points. Is what I'm getting at. This team needs depth. And now Luka's in Spain, getting shot up with stem cells. So he can maybe come back in the first round. It's a hamstring injury. You can't just have him come back. You risk the injury getting worse, and then you start the season without him. And if this was already a gap year, if this year didn't matter to the front office or ownership, then you're going to rush him back to maybe hurt himself even worse, so you could maybe win a game or 2 in the first round. I don't doubt that the Lakers could maybe win a few games without Luka in the playoffs, but it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot, man. And this roster just doesn't have enough. Currently, right now, hell, Marcus Smart hasn't played in multiple games. Ever since he turned his ankle against Orlando Magic, he's been out. And there's no saying he's going to come back okay from his hurt ankle. And when Austin and Luke could also come back, there's just no guarantee they're playing at a way that you could win games with. I remember 2 years ago when the Knicks, and I only remember this because somebody posted this video highlight on X of when Thibodeau somehow got OG Anunoby to play with the jacked up hamstring, and OG could barely walk. He could barely walk and still went out there and played a pivotal game in the playoffs. I don't want to see that as a Laker fan. I appreciate Luka doing the most, or trying to do the most, to make a quick return. But to me, and to the franchise clearly, this isn't a championship or bust season. What also sucks is the fact that you can't really judge JJ in the playoffs without this team being healthy. I really wanted to see if JJ had improved as a head coach, honestly had improved as a head coach, in the playoff situation again with this core. We don't get that. This now becomes the excuse, and it's a great excuse as to why, hey, our season went to shit once our two of our 3-star players got catastrophic injuries that kept them out multiple months. Our season went to shit. We can't really judge anything right now. But I wanted to, and that's what sucks about this. It's such a kick in the nuts. It's such a like, man, this was going perfectly. Hitting all the notes. Going on a run, believing that, man, this team might be able to do it. I don't see them being the Thunder, but man, if they get in a close game, my money's on LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. Let's see what could happen. 2A, it's over. It's absolutely over. You have no shot. No shot at all. It's a damn shame. It's like one of the worst ways to watch one of your favorite teams go down as a fan. One of the worst. One of the worst feelings in sports is knowing there's nothing to fix your team like Chicago Bulls fans feel. And another worst feeling as a fan is watching your team's chances just vanish like that due to injuries. And also that Lakers medical staff, I'm not done. That Lakers medical staff who told JJ Redick that Luka was medically cleared and Austin was medically cleared even after JJ was concerned about an injury, that medical staff has to go. You have to get rid of that staff. You're the Lakers. How the hell do we not have the best medical staff in the league? Ever since Gary Vitti retired, it has been failure after failure after failure after failure. And I just don't understand how this team, who's owned now by Mark Walter, doesn't improve that staff of this upcoming summer. You just have to. You have to. You're not the Kings. You're not the Clippers. I mean, Ballmer has money too, but act like the Lakers. Have the best medical staff in the league. Have the best medical staff in the league. You should have it. You have Mark Walter money now. They're not the Sacramento Kings. Not the Washington Wizards. Get it together, man. It's ridiculous that these guys literally told the coach, hey, man, he's medically cleared. I mean, I'm just choosing to believe JJ on this one. He brought this up last night in Dallas, that he was told this and that he has to go based off of the information he gets. And if that's the information he's getting, it's the wrong information. Those two should have not been in a game where you're down 30 to the best team in the world. It just should not have been an option. You should have benched all three at halftime. We didn't have it that night. It's what it is. A lot of teams don't have it when they play the Thunder. Now the result of trying to force it, now we're going 2 months, maybe, worst case scenario, without those two. And, oh, by the way, the playoffs start in 2 weeks. It's never been more over. Sticking to basketball, though, very shocked about the Angel Reese trade. Can't believe that the Chicago Sky would be stupid enough to trade an all-star player like that caliber for maybe two first-round picks. She was a star as soon as she entered the league. Now putting it in Atlanta, ATL now has 3 all-stars, my dude. And the Dream just became one of the favorites for the WNBA championship. This is a perfect place for Angel Reese. She's going to thrive with that team. 100%. Absolutely going to thrive. For Chicago, though, man, Chicago should be one of the meccas of basketball, up there with New York and LA. And they have their basketball teams, what are you doing? Like, it just seems, I would hate basketball at this point if I lived in Chicago and if I grew up in Chicago. Beautiful city. Beautiful city. Would love to go back. But it's, basketball-wise, it is absolute dog shit. They have ruined the way you look at basketball in the city of Chicago. Just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Angel Reese was an all-star already. I don't understand that trade whatsoever. I really don't. It's insane to me. I'm also surprised by the Washington Mystics firing their GM. She was doing a fantastic job. A lot of weird things happened in that league, man. A lot of weird things. We're going to cover it all. All things that happened. And WNBA free agency just started. Yes, I mean actually today. Started today. So it's already popping off. I mean, it really is. With closing, guys, we're gonna end it with some baseball talk real quick, and then we're gonna end the very first episode of the Crashing Out podcast. And just baseball news, dude. The Red Sox stink. The Red Sox absolutely stink, dude. And I mean, they kind of deserve it, dude. For all the dumb trades they've made in the last few years. The Mookie trade, trading Rafi last season because you wanted to go all in with Bregman being your guy. Then trading the best prospect from the Rafi trade to the Dodgers of all places for like 2 months of Dustin May. It was just absolutely foolish, idiotic, unreal, unreasonable that you did that, because now the Dodgers have a guy who has 7 home runs right now in AAA. Why would you make that team better? Why would you trade with the Dodgers ever again after the Mookie thing? And then you don't even give Bregman the contract he wants. He goes to Chicago Cubs, and you have nothing to show for it. You trade for Wilson Contreras. Well, yeah, he's a good player, but like, this team's bad, man. And it's all ownership. I really don't think that this ownership cares about this team's success. I really don't. And I think, as much as I am a hater of the Red Sox, that team just needs to be sold, and be sold immediately. They are awful. They are a really bad team. They're already, I think they have like the 3rd worst record, or tied for the 3rd worst record in Major League Baseball. I'm loving it, but I'm just saying, man, some of the moves that once, great franchise used to be, it just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Those moves are crazy, man. And now you're kind of paying for it. Like, you're kind of seeing those results of all that foolishness. Like, if you're going to trade Devers, trade him. But you don't trade him to then let the guy you're going all in with, Bregman, go to the NL and go to the Cubs. It's insane. I mean, I hope they stay owned by this guy forever. I really do. Because I'm loving it. I'm loving watching that team in last place. I just am. But yeah, to sell the team chance that they've been getting the last few days, fairs. I mean, that's a very prideful fan base, and I 100% understand that they are upset. I mean, they are just awful. Awful team. Dodgers continue to rake. I don't see anyone really stopping them from three-peating. I did post a little video a couple of weeks ago, or like a week ago, giving you my World Series selection. It was Dodgers, Seattle Mariners, Dodgers in 6. They three-peat. Kind of regretting the Mariners pick. They haven't been all that great. But, long season, maybe a slow start. But as of right now, the Dodgers look like a well-oiled machine, dude. They just smacked the Blue Jays, 14-2, 14-5. I forget what the score was. But they just smacked them. And they're just loaded from top to bottom. And I really don't think there's anything you could really do to stop them. And the only thing that's going to stop them is injuries. And even then, they're just so insanely stacked. It's hard for me to see them going down. Yeah, 14-2. After they swept the Nationals, this team is just loaded to the gills, man. Just absolutely loaded. I don't see anyone beating them. The Yankees, though, they look pretty good to start this year. Some of their other guys aren't hitting the ball as well, but they're still finding ways to win. Pitching has been better than I expected, even though the last 2 nights at least, it's been pretty bad. That bullpen, it's not going to stay strong forever, man. That has been my biggest worry with the Yankees this season. I don't agree with them running it back, but can't do much about that. That was already decided a long time ago. But yeah, I think it's a long season. It's really hard to judge teams that quickly. But when some teams just start off as bad as Boston has, it's kind of more than just, it's one bad year. I know they made the playoffs last year, but some of these moves that they decide to make, that entire franchise needs a complete rebranding. Not rebranding in the sense of change the colors and change the team. I mean a complete front office ownership rebranding. Bring in a new guy, bring in an investor, bring in a new GM that knows what they're doing. They need all of that. Because whoever is in charge now, even though I hope stays this way, they ran that team to the ground. And in a world where you could kind of make the argument it doesn't matter since the Dodgers are just going to three-peat anyways, I think at the end of the day, especially in Boston, those fans are going to want to see a team that at least tries, attempts, makes effort, fights. That's what that team is. It's what I hope from the Yankees, I don't want to just, commit to not trying just because the Dodgers are loaded and they buy everybody. That's the point of baseball, man, is to compete. I'm not going to be one of those guys that say, Mark Walters of the Dodgers ruined baseball. I don't believe in that. If you have the money, spend the money. All these owners that are cheap, that don't want to spend, and all these, like the guys that run the Angels, Art Moreno. Dude's more concerned about his stadium being safe than he is selling tickets. Sure, buddy. We get it. You're broke. That's just what it is. Is the very first episode of the Crashing Out podcast. As always, I am your host, Hollywood Holguin. We're going to try to do these every Tuesday. They should be uploaded every single Tuesday, even though I record them on Monday nights. If you're watching this, it should be April 6, 2026. My favorite bet of the day, by the way, even though all the shit I just talked about them, even though I completely just destroyed them as a team, as a franchise, as how they're run, I am going to go with the Red Sox over 1.5. I think they win today. Why? Because of the whole Wilson Contreras thing. I think they're mad. I think the Brewers pissed them off. And I think you're going to see the Red Sox really come out there and just smack the Milwaukee Brewers. You're going to see a lot of back and forth. But yeah, I think the best bet for tomorrow is Red Sox 1.5. Go with that bet. That's my bet of the night. My boys, the bet of the week. I will see you guys on the very next episode of the Crashing Now podcast. Thanks for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about all the things happening in sports. Let me know what you think about the national championship. Let me know what you think about March Madness. Let me know what you think about the Lakers, NBA, baseball, all those things. Leave the comments down below. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. I will see you guys in the very next episode of the Crashing Now podcast.